A US Navy base in Bahrain appears to have come under attack. This vision on your screen showing smoke rising from
the U.S. dealing a major blow to Iran's terrorist regime, destroying what's left of Iran's Navy after taking out one of its warships with a submarine strike. The first
a missile fragment falling to the ground and exploding in Doha, the capital of Qatar. It's part of the retaliation from Iran after the U.S. and Israel.
At 3:17 local time, a DES-full medium-range ballistic missile lifts off from a mobile launcher hidden inside a commercial warehouse district on the outskirts of Khorramabad, 340 miles northeast of the Persian Gulf. It weighs approximately 9,500 pounds. It carries a 1,000-pound high-explosive warhead. It climbs through the atmosphere at Mach 7, arcing southwest on a trajectory that will carry it over 400 miles of Iranian territory, across the Gulf, and directly into Naval Support Activity Bahrain, the headquarters of the United States Fifth Fleet, home to over 8,000 American military personnel, sitting on a 62-acre compound on the southwestern tip of the island nation that is the single most important piece of American military real estate between the Mediterranean and the Indian Ocean. Behind the first DES-full, 4 more are climbing, and they are not alone. 90 miles south of Khorramabad, from a dispersal area in the Zagros Mountains west of Isfahan, 3 Imad ballistic missiles launch in a staggered sequence, 45 seconds apart. The Imad is Iran's first precision-guided ballistic missile, a liquid-fueled weapon with a separating warhead that carries its own guidance system, a set of small fins on the re-entry vehicle that allow it to make corrections during the terminal phase of flight. It is not accurate by American standards. It is not accurate by Chinese standards, but it does not need to hit a specific building. It needs to hit a 62-acre naval base, and 62 acres is a target the Imad can find. From the coast, the second wave launches simultaneously. On the Iranian shoreline opposite Bahrain, 3 Khalij Fars anti-ship ballistic missiles fire from positions near Bushehr. The Khalij Fars is a modified Fateh 110 with an electro-optical seeker in its nose, a weapon designed to identify and strike ships and coastal infrastructure using a terminal imaging system that matches what it sees to a preloaded target picture. Iran has shown it on television hitting a barge-shaped target from 180 miles away. Western intelligence assessed the test as partially staged. This morning, the assessment will be updated. And, skimming the water 40 miles offshore, already halfway to Bahrain, 3 Nasir anti-ship cruise missiles launched from fast attack boats that sortied from Bandar Abbas 6 hours ago under the cover of commercial fishing traffic. The Nasir is a short-range weapon, a 770-pound missile with a 330-pound warhead flying at 560 miles per hour. 15 feet above the waterline, using an active radar seeker to find the largest metallic object in its path and fly directly into it. The fast attack boats that launched them are already turning back toward the Iranian coast at 45 knots, their crews expecting to be heroes by sunrise. 14 weapons, 5 DES-full medium-range ballistic missiles, 3 Imad precision-guided ballistic missiles, 3 Khalij Fars anti-ship ballistic missiles, 3 Nasir cruise missiles. Total cost to Iran, approximately $38 million. The base they are aimed at houses the command and control infrastructure for every American naval operation from the Suez Canal to the Strait of Hormuz. Its replacement cost is incalculable. Its strategic value is the kind of number that does not fit in a spreadsheet. Iran is not trying to sink a carrier this time. Iran is trying to decapitate Fifth Fleet. 2,200 miles to the west, a satellite belonging to the United States Space Force's space-based infrared system detects the first DES-full launch 4.2 seconds after ignition. SBIRS does not see missiles, it sees heat. The DES-full's solid fuel booster produces a thermal signature of approximately 2,200 degrees Kelvin, a white-hot column of exhaust that, from geosynchronous orbit, is as subtle as a flare in a dark room. The satellite's infrared sensor logs the plume, calculates the launch point, estimates the trajectory, and transmits a warning to the Joint Space Operations Center at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. From Vandenberg, the alert propagates simultaneously to U.S. Central Command in Tampa, 5th Fleet Headquarters in Bahrain, and every Aegis-equipped ship in the Persian Gulf. Total elapsed time from missile ignition to alert reaching the Gulf, 47 seconds. The Desful has been flying for 51 seconds. It has 5 minutes and 40 seconds until impact. 47 miles east of Bahrain, the Arleigh Burke-class destroyer USS Carney is conducting a routine patrol. Its AN/SPY-1D radar is in standard rotation, scanning the sky in 360-degree sweeps. When the SBIRS alert hits the ship's Combat Information Center, the radar operator shifts to ballistic missile defense mode. The SPY-1D narrows its scan, focusing energy into the northeastern quadrant where the threat is predicted to appear. At 4:18 and 14 seconds, the radar acquires the first Desful at a range of 190 miles, descending through 85,000 feet. Within 30 seconds, it has all 5 Desfuls and the 3 EMADs on track. 8 ballistic objects inbound. The combat system classifies them automatically. The weapons coordinator doesn't need to ask what they are. The system already knows. 22 miles south of the Carney, the cruiser USS Normandy, an older Ticonderoga-class ship that has been in the Gulf for 4 months, picks up the same tracks on its own SPY-1B radar. The two ships' radar pictures merge through the cooperative engagement capability. A single integrated air picture forms across both combat information centers. Every track has 2 radar sources. Every solution has redundancy. If the Carney's radar fails, the Normandy can guide the Carney's missiles. If the Normandy's radar fails, the Carney can guide the Normandy's missiles. The system was designed for exactly this kind of morning. But the real asset is not on the water. 60 miles south of Bahrain, at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, an AN/TPY-2 forward-based X-band radar, the most powerful ground-based missile tracking radar in the American inventory, is already staring at the inbound ballistic tracks. The TPY-2 does not see aircraft or drones or cruise missiles particularly well. It was not designed to. It was designed to see ballistic missile warheads at ranges exceeding 600 miles, with enough precision to guide an interceptor directly into the re-entry vehicle. It can distinguish a warhead from a decoy at distances that would make the warhead a single pixel on any other radar. Tonight, the warheads are not using decoys. They do not need to. There are 8 of them. Quantity is its own kind of decoy. What Iran's planners did not know is that the TPY-2 at Al Udeid has been supplemented. 3 weeks ago, a THAAD battery, the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System, arrived at Al Udeid on a deployment that was described publicly as a routine rotation. It was not routine. The THAAD battery was moved from Fort Bliss, Texas on 72 hours' notice after the Defense Intelligence Agency assessed with high confidence that Iran was preparing a ballistic missile strike against American installations in the Gulf within 30 days. The assessment was based on a combination of satellite imagery showing increased activity at known missile garrisons, signals intelligence indicating a surge in encrypted communications between the IRGC Aerospace Force headquarters and field units, and a single human intelligence report from a source inside the IRGC that American analysts rated as credible but unconfirmed. The THAAD battery has been at Al Udeid for 19 days. It has been conducting integration drills with the Aegis ships offshore for 17 of those days. Iran is about to fire 8 ballistic missiles at a base that has been preparing for 8 ballistic missiles since before the launch order was signed. The THAAD system fires first. Its 48 interceptors sit in 6 launcher vehicles, each containing 8 missiles, positioned in a dispersal pattern around the southern edge of Al Udeid. At 03:21 local time, 4 minutes before the first Desful is projected to impact Bahrain, the THAAD battery fires 6 interceptors in an 18-second sequence. The THAAD interceptor is a single-stage solid-fuel rocket that accelerates to Mach 8 and carries a kinetic kill vehicle, No explosive warhead, just a guided projectile designed to collide with the incoming warhead and destroy it through the energy of impact. It operates in the upper atmosphere and the lower reaches of space, at altitudes between 40 and 93 miles. The first THAAD interceptor meets the lead DESFL warhead at 72 miles altitude, 110 miles northeast of Bahrain. The kill vehicle adjusts its trajectory 3 times in the final 2 seconds using a divert and attitude control system powered by small thrusters. It strikes the warhead dead center. A 1,000-pound warhead moving at Mach 7 meets a 30-pound kill vehicle moving at Mach 8. The warhead does not fragment. It vaporizes. The thermal flash is visible to the SBIRS satellite that detected the original launch. From space, the interception looks like a brief star appearing and disappearing 72 miles above the Gulf. The second and third THAAD interceptors kill 2 more DESFLs at 68 and 65 miles altitude. The fourth intercepts an EMOD at 59 miles. The fifth kills another DESFL at 63 miles. The sixth misses. The kill vehicle passes within 5 feet of the EMOD warhead it was targeting. 5 feet. At closing speeds measured in miles per second, 5 feet is the difference between a successful defense and a warhead arriving at a base full of sleeping personnel at 3 in the morning. 5 feet is the width of a door frame. The Carney picks up the leakers. 2 DESFL warheads and 2 EMOD warheads have survived the THAAD engagement and are now descending through 45,000 feet 90 seconds from impact. The Carney fires 4 SM-3 Block 2A interceptors. 2 of them find their targets above 50,000 feet. Clean kills. The third intercepts an EMOD at 38,000 feet, lower than preferred, the warhead already deep into its terminal dive. The kill vehicle hits the reentry vehicle at an oblique angle, shattering it into fragments that scatter across 3 miles of atmosphere. Most of the fragments burn up. A few pieces of twisted metal, none larger than a fist, land in the Gulf. The fourth SM-3 fails. A guidance system error sends the interceptor 400 meters wide of the final EMOD warhead. The warhead continues its descent. It passes through 30,000 feet, then 20,000. The Normandy fires a single SM-2 Block 3A, a lower altitude interceptor designed for threats inside the atmosphere. The SM-2 meets the EMOD at 14,000 feet, 7 miles from the Bahraini coastline. The blast fragmentation warhead detonates within lethal radius. The EMOD warhead breaks apart. The largest piece, approximately 200 pounds of steel casing, tumbles out of the sky and impacts the Gulf 4 miles offshore. Local fishermen on early morning boats report a sound like distant thunder and a splash they initially mistake for a whale breaching. 8 ballistic missiles launched at the headquarters of the 5th Fleet. 8 intercepted. 0 impact on the base. The personnel in Bahrain felt nothing. Most of them do not yet know the attack happened, but the College Fars missiles and the Nasir cruise missiles are still flying. The 3 College Fars anti-ship ballistic missiles are on a lower, flatter trajectory than the DESFLs and EMODs, more like a fast-moving artillery shell than a space-transiting warhead. They are descending through 25,000 feet, aimed not at the base itself, but at the naval port facility, the piers where 5th Fleet's smaller combatants are berthed. Their electro-optical seekers are about to activate, scanning the coastline below for a visual match against the preloaded target image. The Carney's Aegis system tracks all 3. It fires 3 SM-6 interceptors, the Navy's newest and most versatile missile, capable of engaging ballistic missiles in their terminal phase, cruise missiles at sea level, and even aircraft at extended range. The SM-6 costs $4.3 million per round. The College Fars costs Iran roughly $1.5 million each. The math is unfavorable. The results are not. 2 SM-6s intercept their targets at 12,000 and 9,000 feet. The College Fars warheads are destroyed before their seekers can acquire the port. The third College Fars is hit at 6,000 feet, close enough that personnel at the base hear the interception, a sharp crack followed by a low rumble that echoes across the harbor. Debris falls into the water 2 miles offshore. A peer security guard files a report describing what he thinks was lightning. He is close enough. That leaves the 3 Nasir cruise missiles. They are 18 miles from Bahrain, flying 15 feet above the water at 560 miles per hour. They have been invisible to the ship-based radars because of sea clutter and their extremely low altitude. An MQ-9 Reaper drone orbiting at 22,000 feet over the central Gulf on a routine surveillance mission spots them on its synthetic aperture radar at a range of 24 miles. The drone operator, sitting in a ground control station at Al Dhafra Air Base in the UAE, transmits the track to the Fleet Tactical Network. The Normandy's weapons coordinator receives the tracks and immediately assigns them. The first 2 Nasirs are engaged by RIM-162 evolved Sea Sparrow missiles, one from the Normandy and one from the Carney. Both intercept at ranges between 10 and 8 miles. The Sea Sparrow hits the first Nasir directly amidships, and the missile turns into a fireball that rolls across the surface of the water for 200 meters before extinguishing. The second Nasir takes a proximity hit, the Sea Sparrow detonating 6 feet above the missile, shredding its guidance section. The Nasir dives nose first into a wave and disappears. The third Nasir survives to 5 miles from the Bahraini coast. A shore-based Patriot PAC-3 battery, positioned at Sheikh Issa Air Base in the southern part of Bahrain, fires a single PAC-3 MSE interceptor. The PAC-3 MSE is a hit-to-kill missile, 12 feet long, capable of engaging cruise missiles at low altitude with a precision that borders on surgical. It descends to 400 feet, acquires the Nasir on its Ka-band active radar seeker, and flies directly into it at a closing speed of Mach 5. The Nasir ceases to exist 4.7 miles from the 5th Fleet Pier. The warhead does not detonate. There is nothing left of it coherent enough to detonate. 14 weapons launched, 14 intercepted, 0 impact on the base, 0 ships hit, 0 aircraft destroyed, 0 American fatalities. The most consequential physical result of Iran's attack on the nerve center of American naval power in the Middle East is a patch of floating composite debris in the Gulf and a peer security guard who thinks he heard thunder. Total elapsed time from first DESFL launch to last Nasir kill, 6 minutes and 48 seconds. Now the clock turns. At Al Udeid, 14 aircraft that were already on alert status begin taxiing before the last Nasir hits the water. 8 F-15E Strike Eagles from the 336th Fighter Squadron, each carrying 4 GBU-31 2,000-pound JDAMs and 2 AIM-120 DAM RAAMs, 4 F-16 CJ Wild Weasels from the 77th Fighter Squadron, loaded with AGM-88 Harem anti-radiation missiles, their sole purpose to find Iranian air defense radars and fly a missile down the radar beam directly into the antenna, and 2 KC-135 Stratotankers for aerial refueling, because the targets are deep inside Iran and the Strike Eagles are going to need fuel twice. From the Gulf, the Carney and the Normandy contribute their own strike. Each ship fires 12 Tomahawk Block 5 cruise missiles from their Mark 41 VLS cells. 24 Tomahawks in total, each one a 2,900-pound weapon carrying a 1,000-pound warhead, flying at 550 miles per hour, navigating with a combination of GPS, terrain-following radar, and digital scene matching that allows the missile to compare what it sees on the ground with a stored satellite image and adjust its course to within 3 feet of accuracy. The Tomahawk costs approximately $1.9 million per unit. It has been hitting targets in the Middle East since 1991. There is nothing experimental about it. It is a delivery service for 1,000 pounds of high explosive, and tonight it is making 24 deliveries. Total time from the last Iranian weapon hitting the water to the first American weapons crossing the Iranian coast, 7 minutes. Iran spent weeks coordinating the most complex ballistic missile attack in its history. The counterstrike took less time than the national anthem. The first targets are the launchers. 340 miles northeast of Bahrain, the DESFL launch site in the warehouse district outside Khorramabad is still active. The 5 TELs used in the launch have begun relocating, following Iranian shoot-and-scoot doctrine. They are driving through the city's industrial outskirts at 30 miles per hour, mixed in with early morning commercial traffic, attempting to reach a secondary dispersal area 12 miles to the north. They do not know that an RQ-170 Sentinel stealth drone, launched from a classified operating location in the region, has been orbiting above the launch area at 50,000 feet since before the missiles fired. The Sentinel's electro-optical and infrared sensors tracked every TEL from the moment its engine started. The vehicles are in motion. They are not hidden. 4 Tomahawk Block 5 missiles, updated with moving target coordinates relayed from the Sentinel via satellite link, adjust their terminal guidance in flight. The Block 5 variant includes a maritime and moving target capability that earlier Tomahawks lacked. Each Tomahawk descends to 200 feet, acquires its assigned TEL using millimeter wave radar, and impacts. 4 of the 5 DESFL launchers are destroyed on the road. The 5th survives because it turned off the main road 90 seconds before the Tomahawks arrived and is now parked inside a commercial gas station. It is physically intact. Its crew is alive. They are standing next to a vehicle that has just been identified by American overhead assets and will be visited by an F-15E within the hour. 220 miles south, the Ahmad launch site in the Zagros Mountains west of Isfahan is harder. The 3 launchers fired from the floor of a narrow valley accessible by a single mountain road. The valley walls are 800 feet high on both sides. It is an excellent position for surviving airstrikes. It is a terrible position for leaving quickly. The 3 TELs are still in the valley, their crews working to reload from a resupply vehicle that arrived 2 hours before the launch. 8 Tomahawks enter the valley from the southern mouth, flying in a line at 100 feet above the valley floor. The terrain-following radar on each missile adjusts its altitude constantly, dipping and climbing to match the contour of the ground. The first 2 Tomahawks strike the resupply vehicle and the nearest TEL simultaneously. The explosion in the narrow valley is amplified by the rock walls, producing a concussive overpressure that is felt 4 miles away. The remaining 6 Tomahawks hit the other 2 TELs, the access road at 3 points, and a communications relay vehicle parked at the valley's northern exit. When the last warhead detonates, the valley contains no intact military equipment. The road is blocked at both ends by craters, and a column of smoke is rising 3,000 feet into the still morning air. The Khalij Fars battery near Bushehr receives 6 Tomahawks. The launchers were positioned near the coastline in an area with minimal cover, relying on the assumption that the attack would succeed and the counterattack would be aimed elsewhere. The assumption was wrong. The 3 launcher vehicles and their fire control radar are destroyed in a 12-second window. The battery commander's vehicle, parked 400 meters to the north under a highway overpass, survives intact. The commander is alive. His battery is not. The fast attack boats that launched the Nasir missiles are 50 miles from the Iranian coast, racing north at 45 knots, when 2 F-15E Strike Eagles find them. The boats are small, fast, and difficult to hit with a 2,000-pound bomb. The Strike Eagles do not use 2,000-pound bombs. Each one releases a GBU-39 small-diameter bomb, a 250-pound GPS-guided weapon with a standoff range of 60 miles that can hit a moving target the size of a truck. A fast attack boat is the size of a truck. The first SDB hits the lead boat directly on the stern. The 50-pound fragmentation warhead detonates inside the engine compartment. The boat stops moving instantly and begins settling by the stern. The second SDB hits the second boat amidships. It breaks in half. The third boat's crew sees what has happened and begins broadcasting a surrender signal on an open maritime frequency. The Strike Eagles circle overhead for 4 minutes, confirm no weapons activity, and depart. An Iranian Coast Guard vessel rescues the crew 3 hours later. 440 miles to the northeast, inside the IRGC Aerospace Force Command Center in a hardened bunker complex outside Tehran, the situation has gone from optimistic to catastrophic in under 20 minutes. The Dezful Battery, destroyed on the road. The Imad Battery, destroyed in the valley. The Khalij Fars Battery, destroyed on the coast. The fast attack boats, destroyed or surrendered. Total American casualties from the combined Iranian attack, 0. Total Iranian launcher systems surviving, 1 Dezful TEL parked at a gas station, crew presumably reconsidering their career choices. The command staff knows they are being watched. The bunker is deep, 80 feet of reinforced concrete and earth, hardened against anything in the conventional inventory. But 2 B-2 Spirit stealth bombers from the 509th Bomb Wing have been airborne from Diego Garcia for the past 9 hours, each one carrying 8 GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators, 30,000-pound bunker-busting bombs designed to penetrate 200 feet of concrete and detonate below. The IRGC does not know the B-2s are in the air. The B-2's radar cross-section is smaller than a bird, but the IRGC knows B-2s exist. They know what GBU-57s do, and they know that the only thing between them and that weapon is a decision in Washington that may or may not have already been made. Communications traffic from the bunker drops by 90% over the next hour. When it resumes, the messages are going to the Foreign Ministry, not to field commands. At Naval Support Activity Bahrain, the morning shift arrives at 06:30 local time. Coffee is brewed. Briefings begin. The base sustained 0 damage. The pier where 5th Fleet combatants are berthed is undamaged. The headquarters building, where operational planning takes place, is undamaged. The airfield at Sheikh Issa, where the Patriot battery sits, is undamaged. 8,000 American personnel slept through the most ambitious Iranian missile attack in history, defended by a layered system that killed every single weapon Iran launched before any of them crossed the Bahraini coastline. Iran fired 14 weapons in a coordinated multi-domain strike designed by competent planners using the best weapons in Iran's inventory. The plan was not stupid. 8 ballistic missiles to overwhelm the upper-tier defenses, while 3 anti-ship ballistic missiles came in on a lower trajectory, and 3 cruise missiles hugged the water beneath radar coverage. It was a layered attack designed to exploit the gaps between different defensive systems. In a Pentagon war game, it would have scored hits. In the simulation, the THAAD battery is not there. The SM-3 magazines are half full, and the MQ-9 is not orbiting in exactly the right position to catch the sea skimmers. In the simulation, Iran draws blood. The problem for Iran is that this was not a simulation. This was a morning where every American system worked, every interceptor found its target, and every piece of intelligence collected over the past 3 weeks translated into a defensive posture that was prepared down to the minute. Iran brought the exam. America brought the answer sheet and a red pen. The cost of Iran's attack? Approximately $38 million. The cost of the American defense and counterstrike? Approximately $540 million. Iran lost every weapon it fired, every launcher it used, and every boat it sent, and still won the budget line on a spreadsheet. But the budget argument loses its force when your missile batteries are craters, your fast attack boats are at the bottom of the Gulf, your command bunker has gone quiet, and the base you tried to destroy is serving breakfast as if the most dramatic thing that happened this morning was the mess hall running out of scrambled eggs. The 5th Fleet conducted 22 scheduled operations that day without interruption. If you enjoyed this video, check out our other video on how the U.S. stopped Iran's largest ever drone and missile attack on Israel. Bye for now.